Wake up early, hit the road, oh. Load it up, we're in go mode.
What's good, fam? I know. Y'all probably wondering, BG, why is you not in the band? Now, I know a few of you have already figured it out, especially after the live that we just had. Your boy's in Bangkok, Thailand. We're on a family vacation slash business trip. Y'all get it. But this week, we talking about different goals and objectives that you want to do for your business or for your life. And it made me think about why your boy got started. And I say a lot of stuff like I agree with nepotism or the things I want to do for my family, just like you want to do things for your family. And I wanted to clear up some of that stuff to make you get a better understanding of what this week we're talking about with the goals and objectives and how you set the goals and have smart objectives that go along with it to align up with what your ultimate goal is, whatever that success looks like for you. In order for me to do that, though, I got to give you a little bit of the background of your boy. So that way, you can understand the legacy that we over here trying to build for our family. And I'm pretty sure it's sort of similar for all of you as well. I can start with my grandfather on my dad's side. Of course, grandparents on both sides. Gotta love it. The birds taking off. That's the part of it. Bangkok is lovely. We'll talk about that later. But basically, this Bangkok experience, which we travel a lot, is all a part of our ultimate goal. Now, starting with like my grandfather on my dad's side, the reason I'm starting with him is because it trickles down to my dad, then down to me. My grandfather was a carpenter. There's nothing this man could not build with his hands. That was starting his legacy. That's how he started. He was a child of a slave. So, it just kind of goes down that ripple effect. And so my dad, who's also can build anything, carpentry, that stuff got passed down to him. It even got passed down to me. I can build a lot of stuff by hand, like sheds, buildings, all types of different stuff, but that's not what we're here for. And so my dad, even though he had that carpentry background, he applied that to other parts of his life. That made him where he worked on roofs for a good portion of my life and drove 18-wheelers. Hence the cargo van. It's all in our DNA. My uncles drove buses, other uncles drove 18-wheelers, hot shots. It's part of the DNA. That was that legacy getting passed down. And so when it came time for me, as I got older, being raised by my dad, I had the luxury of being blessed to be around my grandfather as well. Part of that legacy, when it came time for me, he was like, hey, I did the roofing thing. I drove the CD at the 18-wheeler, so you don't have to. Now it's time to pass that baton to you. And we're from that generation, that do as I say generation. So it wasn't many questions. Gave it a shot at college, things happened. That's a whole nother story. But then it was like, hey, this is the plan. I want you to go into the military. It's going to take 20 years. By the time you finish, you'll retire before you're 40. Then you have the whole life ahead of you. And that was his way of, he didn't have the financial backing to just say, here. Like some wealthy people have that financial backing to say, here's 50,000, 100,000, go start a business. And if the business doesn't work out, that doesn't mean you took a loss. You learned a lesson. But for many of us, my parents, they were brilliant, but just the time and that part of the life, the decades, the era that we were in, that just wasn't feasible. So the next option was, hey, you go to the military, 20 years, you're going to pick up a lot of skills, meeting out a lot of new people, things that I can't teach you, and we don't have the financial backing for you to just start whatever you want and build on top of that. Thank God, everything in the military went smoothly. Built a beautiful family, my wife and I have 3 boys, and the legacy was starting to get made. Picked up different information, not just from my career, but from mentors, stuff that I learned from my troops, my mentees, like different people from different areas, walks of life, all over the world, different backgrounds, and you learn different things. And along the way, I picked up not just business acumen, but I also picked up personal development and professional development. And then it all kind of blended into one. So when it came time for retirement, let me back up. Now, during this time period, because in order for this to make sense, for this legacy of passing on, the torch or the baton, as you would say. Because over here, I know you know the saying about it's not a race, it's a marathon. I agree with that wholeheartedly. It's just I put a little twist with my wife on it. It's not necessarily a race. It's not necessarily a marathon. It's a combination of both. It's just a different form of a relay. The same way my grandfather handed something down to my dad handed something down, and likewise on my mom's side did the same. Same things happened for my wife's side, and we just brought it all together. Now, part of us, when I said I'm backing it up, my wife had that entrepreneurial spirit. It was brought down through her. So she started many businesses, in-home daycare mostly, because that's her background, that's her gift. She used her gift and her purpose in life, and that's what it was. And that backing from in-home daycares to working in daycares to eventually where she started her own great daycare, many kids, many parents, everybody raving reviews. That's part of that legacy. I'm telling you this because it all comes together for the overall goal of our goals and objectives for our family. And so when it came time of retirement, we both talked out, had some heart-to-heart conversations that we do as a couple, and it led to other things. And here we are now, and it's time for that baton. Now, I say that because you've heard me say many a times in the van, we're building this for grandkids that we didn't even see or don't even know yet. And that is a very important factor of building a legacy. Now, remember, my dad wasn't a carpenter. He learned the skills. But my grandfather did not necessarily want my dad to be a carpenter. They're from Louisiana originally, ended up in Houston, fourth largest city in America. So that means more opportunities. Go out there and make something of yourself, but still remember the thing that got you here. Never forget where you come from. So he used that carpentry helped with things as much as starting a roofing career and driving a CDL, like all that back in that time frame. I took those same tools because he was like, believe it or not, my summers, especially in high school, I worked on roofs. I worked with my dad. And that was grueling work. And he knew that. And that's why he said, this isn't for you. You're not doing this. But that was part of that passing the baton. So when my turn came, same with my son, especially my oldest, he wanted to join to the military. But from the things that I learned and went through, and I don't knock anybody that chooses to follow the path of serving the country. I don't knock that. I actually commend it. It's just the legacy we're building. It was like, hey, we have other tools now available. It's not like when I told you a minute ago, like, hey, my dad, my mom, they couldn't just say, here's 50,000, go start a business. We're in a different situation where we have the ability to help our kids, like, hey, go experience this, go experience life. Before they were even fully grown, kids had been to multiple countries, seen the world. I'm talking about the smallest things that for me, that means something because I did not experience that as their age. Like being in Malta, watching my kids jump off a yacht into the Mediterranean Sea. Who does that? Who does that at 12, 13, 14? Not I. So I started paying attention and especially listening to my mentors of watching the things that not only that my wife and I was able to do for our kids, but others in our circle. Remember, I tell you all the time, show me your network, I'll show you your net worth. And we were all doing these things and learning from each other and growing and building and watching a legacy build around us to the point where it was changing what we handed off to our kids. And with those lessons, I learned that, hey, the same way my dad didn't have to be a carpenter, I didn't have to be a roofer. I'm like, son, you don't have to be in the military. We have other opportunities. Of course, we all been there before. We've been young adults, older teens as we're graduating high school. We think we know it all. I was there just like you. And so it was a little bit of bumping heads of helping understand the legacy, even to the point, because my son, they went to college and all that stuff. I remember the first one, he went to college and we were like, oh, we out. We went to Bali. me, my wife and our two boys, we left. We went to Bali, South Korea, all that stuff. And just because we like to travel. And we have that opportunity. We were blessed with that opportunity to do these things, different parts of the legacy. And so he didn't go with us on that first trip, even though he had been on many trips before. Of course, the whole family is here now. But it's amazing watching that legacy being built because I remember when we got the cargo van at the time, My oldest was working at Amazon. He was like, I love this. This is amazing. And I'm like, hey, if you love it so much, let's give it a shot. I was just doing gig apps when I was, wasting time, bored, got to keep the body moving. You just can't sit still after retirement. You got to do stuff. So we were traveling, but we were back in the States, and I'm like, got to keep moving. So got into the gig app because, you do it when you want to or don't do it at all. And so when he said that about cargo van, I'm like, hey, let's give it a shot. Well, my wife, she was the one who said, hey, let's give it a shot after doing gig apps because she knows my background, international speaker, international author, all that stuff. And the things that I did with consulting with different businesses and all that stuff. And I would just be talking about gig apps, explaining numbers because I'm a numbers guy and how the network and how the different things work. And she said, hey, we need to put a camera in front of you because there's people that actually need this information. I'm like, hey, my mission in life is to help. That's my whole purpose. I understand my gift, and my gift is giving back and helping. Now, granted, I understand legacy as well because part of my gift, I know it might not be the richest. There are going to be people that are able to use not just the information I'm able to provide, but information they're able to put together from different networking sources, whether it be YouTube, their family, friends. They're going to make way more money, but that's not my purpose. That's not part of my legacy. The legacy and the baton that my wife and I handed to our kids looks totally different. So that started with the cargo van. And you've heard me say it. Hey, it's for the people that come behind me. Remember, I just told you, son, it's military and for you. Me driving a cargo van isn't necessarily to say my kids need to drive a cargo van. That's the whole part of building the legacy. Legacy in the making is the best way I can put it. And the reason that is because partly what we've talked about in the recent live is you build the business to the point where you might be an operator now, and then you may be an owner, but then all of a sudden you need to become the leader. And what that looks like is you might be the driver today. And then when you get to the point where you're the owner and you have multiple drivers, you need to build systems and put systems in places to where you're able to back off now and you can let somebody else run the operations, the day-to-day, the CEO, if you may say, and you might just have stock in the company where you still are the leader, you're still the face of the brand, but you don't have to do the day-to-day operations. So when this legacy is being built, it's not being built for the kids to have to get in a cargo van. It's being built so either the cargo van provides for whatever their purpose and dreams are, or they're able to just be a part of the board or have stock in the business and it turns out money and they never have to work again. It could be many different things, but that's the whole part of building a legacy or the legacy in the making, as I already previously said. So I say that because we're sitting out here in Bangkok, Thailand, and we're working on helping fam like you build that business and think about your goals and objectives. I want you to understand that don't look at the goals and objectives of what you're personally trying to do. Now, granted, if that's what you want to do, there's nothing wrong with that. Because I remember I ran into a gentleman one day when I was picking up something at a warehouse, and he had a box truck. And I was just talking, and I kind of mentioned about my boys and all that. And the first thing out of his mouth was, man, I got boys. They don't want to do this. I'm not even worried about it. There's so many words, forget them kids. I didn't have time that day to kind of sit down. I gave him my card. He never reached out, but and I asked him to because I heard what he said, but I don't think he understood the part of building the legacy. It's not built so that they have to do the exact same thing. Think about anybody that you could think of. Doesn't matter who you are, what the situation is. Think about somebody that has a business that you might aspire to see. I'll use McDonald's. The people that started McDonald's, as that legacy is built, I highly doubt that their grandkids, great-great-grandkids, and great-great-grandkids, and nieces and nephews, I highly doubt they're flipping burgers. I doubt when Walmart started as a little local convenience store with just fruits, vegetables, bread, and all that, I highly doubt that family is standing behind cash registers. I may be wrong. I highly doubt, since we're going to switch back over to the driving lane, when J.B. Hunt started driving that truck and started that company with him and his wife, I highly doubt that their great-great-grandkids and grandkids and nieces and I highly doubt they're out there driving semis. I'm just saying, that's not how the legacy is built. So when you're thinking about objectives, goals for the business, the personal life, because remember I told you, Your personal life and your business life, they're all one. That's why it's good to have personal development, business development, and professional development because believe it or not, they're all intertwined together. What you're seeing right now, this is the making of my personal life, professional life, and business life coming together. Whether it been the stuff I told you already coming from my grandpa, my dad, my mom, my wife, my kids, to that professional life of that military 20-year career, or all the way down to the business side when you're watching us build the cargo van from just starting with gig apps. With the future so big and bright, but I tell you all the time, our dream so big, God has to intervene and for it to happen. That's how we're big at making our legacy. That's why it's the legacy in the making. And that's why our race doesn't look like a marathon. It might not look like a sprint. It's just an ongoing relay race. And we're passing the baton. Right now, I'm the first leg. My wife is standing there with the timer. We got 3 boys. Boy 1 is second leg. Boy 2 is the third leg. And we got boy 3 is the fourth leg. That baton is going to eventually get passed off in 3 different directions. But it all depends on how fast I get around that curve with my wife holding that stopwatch, cheering us on, saying, go, go, go. You know you got it in you. She's that parent or mom or wife ever you see when you see sporting events and you see a kid running down the football field or running down the track and you see that parent running full speed next to it. That's her. We're all in this thing together. And the only way one doesn't win by themselves. We all win as we all win together. Told y'all that. Let's win together. That's the whole purpose of why we do what we do over here. Because it does no good if my family wins and your family doesn't. We want to win together. So I know the knowledge and the experience and the expertise. It's more than one way to skin a cat. It's not like what we say or you hear your boy say is one stop shop. It's what it is. My law, my word is the Bible, the book. No, it's not that. You're supposed to put all this stuff together from different sources and help create your legacy. I just told you, I picked up stuff from my grandpa, my mom, my dad, my wife, her family, military mentors, my mentees. All those pieces together form the legacy that we're on. Just right now, at this stage in our life, or this part of the race, the relay race, you're looking at the cargo van part. While my kids are walking around telling my wife and I, no, we don't want to go back. They might be forming a legacy and changing it, but as myself as their father and their mother as their mother, if that's the way the legacy needs to go, because it's not about me, it's not about her, it's about the people that we're heading the baton to. We have to position them to keep the race going. So yes, we're on cargo van. If they decide they don't want to drive, we use it to build something else for them. Right now, I tell you all the time, they content. All right, that's what we're doing. I believe in nepotism. I told you that. So it's our job as parents. I'm going to put you in the best place for your content. What you do with it is on you. If you need help, you got it. But I just want you to all understand that that's the whole part of goals and objectives. You got to have the legacy. You got to make it. And it only makes it get started to being made when you start it. So what are you going to do? Are you building a legacy? Are you the legacy in the making? Are you the first person? Did somebody hand it to you and now you have to keep it going? That's on you to decide. But it only gets built based off of your goals and objectives. Yes, I know as the next couple of weeks come up, we're going to talk about strategic goals and objectives, financial goals and objectives, even the operational side of it. In order to do that, you have to first sit down and figure out what's your overall goal, that long term, that short term. What are going to be the objectives, those smart objectives you have to put in place to start making these things happen? Because believe it or not, this coming to Bangkok, Thailand, this just doesn't happen overnight. This is things that we had goals and objectives in place to get here, not just for my wife and I, but for our kids, to continue to show them a different part of life, to show them different opportunities, things that they can build for themselves. But either way it goes, I know y'all probably like, BG, when you going to get back in the van? It's going to be a few more weeks. We still building a legacy, fam. So yes, you're going to see a lot more of these type of videos throughout the next couple weeks where we're still going to focus on business, but you're going to start seeing it all intertwined between business development, personal development, and professional development. Because believe it or not, I might be sitting out here by the pool now. I might be able to look out and see high rises and all that right now. But I want to get to the point where I'm standing here with you and we're standing and sitting by the pool together, watching the high rise, looking over the high rises, walking around streets in different countries, having get togethers all around the world. I want to get to that part with you. That's part of our strategic objectives, but that's something we'll talk about in the next live. But don't worry, we have more videos coming. We know I owe you a few videos, but I just wanted to let you know when you see your boy pop up here, it's going to be like this for a few more weeks. You got to stick with your boy. Just hang in there because we are definitely going to have a good time. I just want to understand that in order for you to start making a legacy, you got to start making the goals and objectives and set out a clear strategic plan in order to build that. But that's all I got. I'm not going to hold you up. Got to get back to hanging out with the fam. They want to go around and they seen a cafe or something that's open that they want to go sit and have coffee and snacks and I guess people watch because we learn by watching others. The same way you're watching this video, I watch y'all's videos as well. We learn by watching others. Get information. And man, I've been getting a lot of information about the transportation side of the world in Bangkok, Thailand, which I'll express in a whole nother video. But as far as this video, fam, it's finito. I just wanted to get your mind to going in the direction of goals and objectives and the legacy that you're in the process of making. For some of you already started. Some of you are different phases. Remember, it's not a race. It's not a marathon. You're running your own long-term relay. You might be on the first leg, second leg, third leg. You might be ready to hand the baton off. You might have just started with the gun going off. It doesn't matter the stage. It just matters you're going to start and begin. But you can't do it without having clear goals and objectives and building the legacy that you want for yourself, your family, and those that you haven't even met yet, you probably will never meet them, but you know, and everybody will know that you're the one that started that legacy. They will remember you and your family as being the pioneers for the legacy that set up generations for life. But hey, we're going to keep building over here. We're going to keep having these discussions. Might sound and look a little different as we're on vacation, but either way, we're going to have them. But yeah, fam, I'm done. That's enough for this video. I ain't going to keep you going. I probably rambled on a little longer than I probably intended to begin with. But it's neither here and there. As long as you get the information, as long as you get the understanding, and as long as you get the right guidance and direction on building your legacy. So y'all stay safe out there. And as always, until the next video, y'all stay blessed.